Apple might have just made the easiest MacBook to recommend or one of the easiest to buy for the wrong reasons. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly who the MacBook Neo is for, who should avoid it, and whether it's actually worth your money. The MacBook Neo was introduced just a few days ago and it sent the tech world into a spiral. People calling it Apple's most disruptive product yet, the best laptop out there for the money, and it's being hyped as if it was a $10,000 laptop priced at $200, which isn't the case in any way. With a phone chip, reduced battery life and specs, and overall more budget than all of its siblings in the lineup, who's it actually for? In the laptop space, MacBooks have been the gold standard for years. The durability, quality, battery life, power, and operating system have been the best of the best. But with that also came a pretty hefty price tag, which meant the amount of people able to buy a brand new MacBook was pretty slim. The Neo tried to bridge that gap, and it succeeded. But it succeeded not in making any MacBook cheap, but in making a less powerful MacBook well priced. The Neo, due heavily to its price, is incredibly tempting to pretty much everybody. I mean, who doesn't want a $600 MacBook? Just a few months ago, the cheapest MacBook you could get new was over $1,000. Apart from the price, Apple actually did a really good job in still making this look and feel premium. Compare this $600 laptop to others in the market and you can tell in an instant which one is higher quality. But with it being so affordable for Apple standards, there's going to be a lot of people out there getting it, and more so, getting it for the wrong reasons. I think the biggest trap with the Neo is that people aren't going to buy it for what it is. They're going to buy it for what they think the word MacBook means in their head. When most people hear the word, they're not thinking entry-level laptop for basic tasks. They're thinking premium, powerful, smooth, reliable, and one of the best laptops out there. So when Apple drops a MacBook this cheap, a lot of people are instantly going to assume they're basically getting access to that same experience for way less money, when that's not really what this is. Apple unfortunately did too good of a job of making it look like a real part of the main MacBook lineup. It has the same name, the design, the branding, the build, and from a distance, it looks like just another MacBook, only way cheaper. And once people see that, they're not going to compare it to what it actually is. They're going to compare it in their head to the MacBook Air they've always wanted, but maybe couldn't afford. The Neo looks premium enough to make people forget that it's still the budget option. The Neo came out labeled as a budget MacBook, pretty similar to the budget iPhone and budget Apple Watch. A device capable of doing the main tasks that a device should do, but with no bells and definitely no whistles. This device wasn't meant to be costly, premium, luxury, or exceed standards. It's meant to be the baseline MacBook. This MacBook shouldn't be treated as the standard MacBook experience, so don't expect it. This is supposed to be the entryway into MacBooks, the MacBook that does everything you require it to, but nothing more. And all of that is reflected pretty clearly in the price tag, and that lower price didn't just appear out of nowhere. Apple didn't just wake up one day and decide to be this generous. To get this thing down to $599, corners had to be cut. And that's the part people need to remember, because when something looks this appealing at this price, there's always a reason. So if you're buying the Neo mainly because the number on the price tag looks shocking for a MacBook, you also have to understand what had to be sacrificed to make that possible, because that's the part that's going to affect your experience later on down the line, not the excitement of getting it on day one. If your day-to-day looks pretty simple, the Neo honestly makes a lot of sense. If you're a student going to class, opening up Chrome, writing essays, checking emails using ChatGPT, watching YouTube, and maybe hopping on Netflix at night, then yeah, this thing is probably enough for you. If your laptop is more of a tool for getting through daily life rather than a machine you actually push hard, then the Neo fits that lifestyle really well. That's the kind of person that this was made for. Someone who wants the MacBook experience at the most basic level and that doesn't need much beyond that. There are three kinds of people that just really should not buy this thing. First, the person that needs performance, because if your day-to-day already involves heavier tasks, this is probably not the laptop you should be gambling on. Second, the person that wants flexibility, because if you want a laptop that can handle what you do now and also whatever you might start doing later, the Neo is probably going to feel limiting pretty fast. And third, the person buying mainly because it's a MacBook, because if the main thing pulling you in is the logo and the excitement of finally owning one, that's usually a sign that you're buying emotionally, not practically. The people who are going to regret buying the Neo the most are the ones convincing themselves that it'll probably be enough. The people saying, I mean, I'm not doing anything too crazy, even though deep down, they know they want more out of their laptop than just the basics. Or the people saying, it's a MacBook, how bad can it be? And assuming that means it'll automatically fit into their life perfectly. Those are the buyers that are going to be the most disappointed because their purchase isn't really based on what the Neo is. It's based on what they hope it is. And this is where I think a lot of people need to be really honest with themselves. Some of you should not even be looking at the Neo at all. You should just be saving up for the Air. Because if you already know you want more than the basics, if you already know you care about smoother performance, more headroom, more longevity, and just a more complete MacBook experience overall, then forcing yourself into the Neo just because it's cheaper is probably the wrong move. Spending less money sounds smart in the moment, but not if it leaves you wishing you had just waited and bought the laptop you actually needed in the first place. And honestly, if you already own an older MacBook, this is one of those products you need to be extra careful with because the price and the fact that it's new can make it feel like an upgrade when it might not actually be one. A lot of people are going to see the new colors, the lower price, the headlines, and think this is some amazing fresh entry into the lineup. When in reality, if you already have an older Air, there's a very real chance that what you already own is still the better machine. So don't let new trick you into thinking better. I think one of the best ways to look at the Neo is to stop thinking about how it feels on day one and start thinking about how it's going to feel a year from now. Because on day one, it's easy to love. It's new, it's affordable, it's Apple, and it feels like you got in for way less than usual. But a year later, once the hype is gone and this is just your normal everyday laptop, are you still gonna feel like you made a smart decision? Or are you gonna start noticing the reasons it was so cheap in the first place? My rule with the Neo is pretty simple. If your laptop use is basic and you know it's gonna stay basic, then the Neo can make sense. But if there's any part of you that's already questioning whether it's gonna be enough, that probably answers the question right there. Because the people that are right for this laptop usually know they're right for it. The ones asking if it can stretch slightly into heavier use, more demanding work, or more long-term value are usually the ones that should be looking at something above it, not forcing themselves into the cheapest MacBook just because it exists. So if I had to summarize all of this in one sentence, it's that the MacBook Neo isn't bad in any way. It's just risky if you misunderstand what it is. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new to the channel. If you have any ideas, reviews, or anything else you'd like me to cover, let me know and I'll gladly do so. What do you guys think of the Neo? Do you like it? Do you not? I'd love to read your opinions. And well, I thank you all so much for watching this video. And since there's nothing left to be said, I'll see you guys in the next one.